So I also want to share a macro averager. This is an old um, inter. Uh, I also want to share a macro averager tool. This is a really good tip if you're one that doesn't want to strictly eat all the time, or maybe you eat more on the weekend. This is an amazing tool. So what it does is you enter in your protein for the day. So day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, and then it averages out how much, and that is the key, that is what you want. So if your goal was like 2,000 calories, like that was your maintenance, eating, this is the average that averages out. It was 100 grams of protein, 217 grams of carbs, and 78 grams of fat, equaling out to almost 2,000 calories. So that's pretty good. Next time, though, you would want to maybe up your food during the week. Like if you only ate a little bit on day 1, you're going to want to try and maybe add more carbs or fat, so the next week your number is closer to your goal, which was this was the goal. So this is a great tool. It averages everything out for you automatically, and it's very, very, very helpful for having a little more freedom with your bulk or your cut. So now that you are more familiar with what to eat and how to put it in MyFitnessPal, working out is very important for a bulk, because the whole point is to gain muscle, and you cannot gain muscle just walking. So you're going to want to lift heavy. A good way to do this is through progressive overload. Progressive overload can be done a couple different ways, but I'm going to just do the most generic, simple way. So to do a progressive overload, you're going to want to maybe keep track of your weight, and let's say you start out hip thrusting like 100, or like let's say like 95. So the bar is 45 pounds, and then there's 25 on each side. And let's say you start out with that and get 12. Well, the next set, you're going to add more weight, and you're going to want to maybe do 10 reps. Then you're going to want to maybe add even more weight, maybe do 8 reps. Sets kind of depends on what you're focusing on that day, but you could probably do like 4 sets. Some people do 5, some people do 3. It really is depending on what you're doing else in the gym. So if you're hip thrusting 5 sets, you're going to want to start maybe at 12 and go down. And on your last set, maybe even go for 3. So you're going to want to choose a weight that is so hard that you can only get 3 reps. So you're jumping from 12 to 3. So the weight is going to be so different. When you get a little more familiar with progressive overload, you're just going to want to start at like 8 or 6, depending on what exercise you're doing. So if you're doing hip thrust, you're going to want to probably start at like 8, and whatever you can do to get 8, and then go down and maybe go to 2. Like how much weight can I put on to hip thrust twice? And that is going to build muscle. Another way is hypertrophy, which is very slow and controlled movements. It's not about how many reps you can get, it's how long you can take doing them. Either way is fine, but I think progressive overload is the more favored way. But you gain a lot of muscle through hypertrophy as well. So it really is depending on you. You might even want to do both. You also want to avoid probably cardio. I mean, walking is very good for you, so maybe walk, still get your steps in, but you don't want to counteract the muscle gain. So you're going to want to do a lot of workouts slowly. each set, rest 2 minutes in between. You're gonna want to lift with all your might, so you can't just jump into the next routine after. You have to kind of rest in between each set. This is gonna allow the muscles to really grow, because it creates like tears, and resting is like super important. You also want to make sure you're not lifting 7 days a week. You need rest in between. It's almost even suggested just to rest like after, like every other day or every day, because it's like at least rest the part of the body. Like if you're doing leg day, do the upper body day the next day. Don't do leg day 2 days in a row. It's not gonna be good. So now with cut, you have more freedom to do cardio. I still think that cardio is really not. You don't have to if you don't like to do it. You can just resistance train. You don't even want to lift lighter, but just not as heavy. You don't want to lift lighter because you don't want to lose muscle. You can also incorporate HIIT at this time. Just kind of doing more athletic training is going to be really good. It's going to keep your endorphins high, and you're going to feel not as powerful and strong because you're not eating as much. You are in a deficit at this point. So you're going to be a little more lifting just a little bit less, but still don't just go back to the 5-pound weight. Still lift and resistance train. If you want to do cardio, that is fine. It is all however you want to do your cut. And the last tips I would give are, if you are someone that does not like to weigh yourself, I would not recommend weighing yourself that much. Do a month check-in, but I think progress photos are the most telling, because it really lets you put a photo next to another photo and really see, like, you're gonna see your bum get like lift up higher after you're bulking and doing all of those deadlifts and all of those hip thrusts and squats. You're going to notice a difference, and when you do notice that difference, it's going to feel way better than the number going up on the scale. For people that are like skinny and want to gain muscle, the number going up might be amazing, but it's good to keep your mental health good at this point in time, because it could make you want to stop. And if you did want to weigh yourself, I recommend getting a scale. This scale, you enter in your height, you enter in your age, and if you're a male or a female, and if you're very, very active, or if you're not, it has like a little running man on the side. Then you're going to want to weigh yourself, and it's going to tell you your bone mass, how much water you have, and supposedly your body fat. But take it with a grain of salt. Do not trust this fully. I recommend going to a fitness center where they offer body scan tests. That you put your hands on this little thing and it like reads how much body fat you have, and it's more accurate, and it's going to be a better number to go off of. You might even want to do it in the beginning of your journey, and then do it after your bulk, and then do it after your cut, and you'll notice the numbers there if you can't notice it in photos or in the mirror. Okay, that's it, and thanks for watching. I realize I did not cross these T's, so thank you for watching.